Oh, he didn't actually lower your taxes? Fucking no way.
Democrats are just so fucking
They're
piss poor,
so
dude.
weak. Bernie and
Well, the
AOC,
leaders,
yes.
even Pete Buttigieg is also doing a
Yeah,
lot.
Pete, he's a guy. He's a real guy and not a skin puppet.
Chuck Schumer, Nancy Pelosi, they need to get the fuck out of here. I've been saying that for
They
years.
need to be
But
out,
like,
out, out. They're so
yeah,
complicit. Is it just that they're afraid of for their career?
they're like 85. It's just they want the money.
I don't want to think that the grifting goes quite that deep. They're not doing it
Dog.
just for money.
I mean, yeah, have you seen how much money they make?
No?
Like they make like I think like 200,000 a year, but Nancy Pelosi 1 year made $300 million from her stock trades.
Ooh. And there was a bit of a controversy about her using insider trading tactics, wasn't there?
Yeah, yeah, and the thing is, Chuck Schumer, so like AOC and Bernie kept pushing over and over and over again to ban stock trading like this, insider trading in Congress.
Yeah.
And guess who kept shutting it down?
Who?
Chuck Schumer and
Chuck
Nancy Pelosi.
fucking
Every time,
Schumer and Nancy
well,
Pelosi.
because every time they would submit it to the floor, both of them would swat it down. Because like, why would they shut down something that they're making so much money off of?
Yeah. You go in really wanting to do good. That's why you're in the Democratic Party. And you end up becoming more and more cynical as your career continues. It's a pattern that
Yeah,
you see a lot, even in authoritarian leaders. There's still, in the early stages, a genuine willingness to do good and a hunger for it. And it's lost by many, many politicians. That's why I feel Bernie and Joe Biden are the exception. Joe was a pretty decent president, in my opinion. He was way too old, and he should have never run for re-election. But in terms of people who actually care, Democratic politicians who actually care, Bernie, AOC, me, slightly Biden, and then you have fucking Schumer and Pelosi.
honestly, I would argue Biden actually was kind of shitty, but the one person that I would genuinely say that cared is Obama.
Obama cared, but Obamacare very
Hmm.
much. I would urge you to look more closely at Joe Biden's political career. I think it's quite clear what his motives are, and he stayed to those motives. The issue that will haunt him forever is Palestine.
I mean, also signing and kind of spearheading the crack pandemic in the 90s.
Yes, he did that, but it's not quite as an immediate as an issue because it's more a conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, the CIA is always up to some shit.
There was an interview with Chris Morris, who's a UK comedian, and he made a movie about how mostly the FBI would butter up and groom people in mosques to try and make them into terrorists by offering them money and houses and shit like that if they pull off a terrorist attack. It's completely the plot is completely made up
Yeah,
by the FBI, but then they are imprisoned for their lives, even if they don't
yeah,
commit an act of terrorism because the juries are terrified. What Chris Morris said about that is that they're never the good guys. They're never the good guys. They often are in the legal right, but their interests do not at all align with public safety when push comes to shove. Fucking install a puppet government in South America for money. If you need that done, they will fund your covert military operations gladly. They funded Saddam Hussein.
yeah. That's the one thing I find very funny about the United States, right? We're pro-democracy, pro-democracy, pro-democracy. Even though we're a democracy, the United States government actually prefers dictators.
Yes, they're much easier for them to control. They like dictatorships elsewhere because, in all honesty, dictatorship is
We
bad
like
for business
dictators.
if you don't have tons of natural resources. You know, the US is a labor-based country.
We do have a lot of minerals here. We have the Grand Canyon.
Yeah,
Do you know how much lithium is there?
a lot of good
And
stuff.
uranium? fucking massive amounts of uranium. And I was talking to that with Kelsey, like it's protected for a reason, and I agree with it. But all of it, like
Hmm.
genuinely all of it, and I know like I'm talking about a slippery slope here, right? It starts off as being one side of the Grand Canyon, and now 100 years later, they've taken it over all of it. And you have to figure out a way to stop them from doing that. But like,
Drill, baby, drill.
I mean, I don't think about. Okay, so I don't mind the drilling part. It's the oil part that bothers me. I think geothermal with new technology like millimeter wave boring is going to be crazy for geotherm.
Why?
Why do I think geothermal with boring new boring technology is going to be like big?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, think about it, right? So how hot is the Earth in the middle, right, the core?
That's the reason that you do geothermal in the first place. Why is it
Yes.
specifically new geothermal technology that you think will be game changing? Because
Oh,
a lot of
well,
claims are made about the future of energy.
mhm. Well, I mean, there's still a lot of things in testing that we need to do, but whenever it comes to the hard part about geothermal is because the crust, like the amount that you need to drill into the earth to make it viable depends on where you're at. Right here in
Iceland,
Louisiana,
for instance.
Iceland's very close, right? You know, the like the cracks and the fault lines
Yeah.
allows it to be easier. Whereas if you're in somewhere like Utah, you have to drill like a lot farther. And because you have to drill further, that makes it more expensive. And also it gets harder to drill the deeper you go because like the rock is so compressed, it turns into like this rubber material and like fucks up the drill bit and it makes it extremely expensive to drill and takes a long time. Well, recently they started building a 5G millimeter wave super powerful drill bit that uses lasers to bore into the earth.
Ah.
And and I think if we were able to fix all the issues with that, keep innovating, that will allow us to drill a lot cheaper and open up the opportunity for because like energy, it's cool that we can, harvest sunlight in space and then fire it down with a beam, but like if the kilowatt per hour doesn't make sense, then it's not a viable thing, you know? Chick-fil-A sounds great right now, but I got food at home. One thing I'm gonna start doing, and this is gonna be incredibly cringe to a person that lives there, but I'm gonna start watching all the James Bond movies.
A lot of rape in them. But they're pretty good.
A, lo- a lot of rape.
Yep. Quite a lot of rape committed by
Mm.
the main character. Or at least it's very rapey.
The older ones or the newer ones?
The older ones, primarily.
Uh, yeah. With a license to kill, rape really doesn't seem that bad now, does it?
I've got the Fortnite crown. Can you believe it? I might even get that victory royale.
What is it called? A Royale with cheese?
I haven't learned to love Tarantino yet. That is one of my darkest secrets.
I mean, neither have I. There's the one scene that I think is universally loved by most people is in Django Unchained, the KKK scene.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Oh my God, dude. I remember watching that in like I don't know whenever it came out. It was in the movie theaters and just laughing hysterically. Even KKK members thought it was funny. Even black people thought it was funny.
Even black people.
Dude, black people love that scene. I'm not even joking.
Of
It's
course I do.
hilarious. It's a comedic stance on the KKK that makes them look stupid.
Yeah. Mock them.
Even the KKK enjoyed it. Yeah.
The clan of now are not what they used to be.
The Klan currently runs the government, but that's something
That's
else.
for, yeah, completely separate issue that has nothing to do with the KKK.
Do you ever put a little dirt underneath your pillow for the dirt man?
Yeah. And underneath my foreskin. For the dirt woman.
Mm. Mm.
I support the Costco company. Although it's slightly evil. That's the problem with most American places, actually.
Slightly evil.
Greg's is one of those places that, despite being corporate, basically pure of heart. A staple of working class life in these aisles.
Entire loaf of sourdough, $8.
What the fuck? $8.
Yeah.
Holy fuck. It
Is
should
that
be
expensive?
fucking illegal. Yes. How big is it?
Oh. Um, it's I don't know, like 4 or 5 pounds.
Bro, that is French Revolution level. Loaf of sandwich bread, I'm expecting to get that for like 54p. Cheap option.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. Nope.
A loaf of sandwich bread for $1? Kelsey and I were talking about like bread. It's $5 a loaf here now. That was $8.
Okay, that's more food than... That's expensive. It's not egregious because the bread is pretty big. I would pay £4 for that. £4.50.
Well, £4.50 is about 7 here. 7 American.
The great pound sterling is much stronger than that, I assure you. £4.50 is $5.82. You should not be paying any more than $7 for that. And I assume that it's
Yeah.
pretty much medium quality sourdough.
Yeah, it's not the best.
What about regular bread? You know, just sandwich bread. How much is that?
Dude, regular sandwich bread, dude, that was what I was telling you. It's $5 for a small ass loaf. Like, this is a deal compared to that.
Holy fuck, dude.
Look up Dave's Killer Bread. That's like what people buy here for good bread on the store.
Holy fuck. $6.
Yeah, yeah. Sometimes it's 8, and it's a tiny ass loaf. Like that's what I'm telling you. Like things here are bad,
Yeah, and the
like
junk food
really
is so
bad.
fucking cheap as well.
It's really hard to eat healthy here, and I've actually
Ah.
stopped buying actual vegetables. I've started buying only frozen vegetables now.
Vegetables are vegetables, but like, yeah, you shouldn't have to do that. In theory, the fresh vegetables should be significantly cheaper, right? The amount of R&D it takes to make a Mountain Dew, right? Compared to
Well, this
just
is
like
all on
fucking
purpose too.
fruit and it's on purpose. Yeah, but
Also here in Louisiana, we grow a lot of the fruits and veggies. They're not sold back to us. They
yeah,
ship them out to other countries because a lot of the laws here state that they can't sell the veggies here. So we have to import the veggies from like Mexico or something like that. And by that time, they can add another tax on the grocery stores can.
I mean, I've always thought that it was funny that, you know, that sort of situation. You get your vegetables grown there, and at great expense to both financially and to the environment, you ship out those exact same vegetables to other countries. While importing them, you require by law that you can't feed the people of your state.
Yeah, because that dips in the profits, dude. What are you talking about? What are you giving up for the shareholder, Max?
That is a good fucking question. I need to sacrifice for the shareholder. My liberal mother, whose politics are quite good, but, is basically like, really a lot of the people benefiting from like BlackRock, for instance, a very significant portion, you call them stakeholders rather, and it's like people who get their pension really just not the kind of people who are the financial assholes. And that obfuscates the wrongdoings that the people at the top do, because they kind of use those people as
Oh,
what do
you
you call
can't
it?
hurt
As a
me
shield.
because you're going to hurt everybody else. That's what Elon's doing right now. I mean, at least his fan base is, because the stock's plummeting, and they're like, "Hey, if you sell." Elon only owns 20% of Tesla. So if you start selling and shorting Tesla, you're actually hurting so many other people that invested in this company. So like, you need to stop doing it. It's like, no. I mean, like, they can divest. They put their money in the stock market, like they knew it was going to go, like it could happen. I'm not going to let Elon become richer because of that. Fuck off.
Why do you feel that these particular people have a right for their investments to go in the green, especially at the
I
hands of a
mean,
company that is objectively shitty?
dude, the thing is, the car that I have is the best car I've ever owned. It's the cheapest car I've ever owned too, by and large. It's a great product. They have a really great product, excluding the Cybertruck. Cybertruck sucks dick.
Yes, it does.
Horrible. But the Model 3, Model Y, S and X are really great. I mean, especially the Model 3, Model X. Like, I
Yeah.
can't wait for the Rivian R2 to come out. Like, that's what I'm going to switch to.
I have taken a few rides in Teslas. Good
Hmm.
vehicles. Generally good vehicles. However, I am, like, completely indifferent to car sales as, like, why should I care? I don't like cars. I don't want them in my cities. I don't drive one. I don't need one. Why
Of course.
must there be such criticality in the market for cars?
Well, I mean, like, that's the only way you can get around here in the
Yeah,
United States.
yeah.
It's the only way. So that's why we have it.
I mean, you have all these people that rely on cars, and I mean the situation that creates where you know it's something that requires your whole attention. A thought that I had recently was that you still have your freedom when you're riding on a bus. The car requires you to divert your whole attention towards the act of driving. Otherwise, you would be doing something extremely dangerous. But you are free to
Yeah.
write, you are free to go on your phone, you are free to do basically what you want on a bus or on a train.
Yeah, it costs, it also, everybody knows it costs more to have a car. It costs more because we have to have insurance, we have to have all this other shit, we have to have this. You have to pay for your tires to be rotated, and it's an entire economy that nobody wants to get rid of because they've built it up this way.
It's, yeah, big sunk cost. And I'm not like, how is Montana town with 200 people in it? Are they gonna build a fucking comprehensive bus network?
No, but it's have one train station. You know, it's
Yeah.
one of those things.
Well, you get off the train station. Oh, look, a road. I can't go further without a car.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a lot of train stations, to be fair. But
Hmm.
think about, like, the division of labor and how inefficient that is. With a train, let's say you can fit 500 people on a passenger train. There's only one person driving it. That equivalent amount of people is, like, literally hundreds of cars. Hundreds of people diverting basically the same amount of labor to that. Isn't that, like, a massive waste?
Everything trends towards trains because of how efficient they are. Maglev technology.
Maglev is good stuff. I mean, how come Japan can do it and we can't? Why have we wasted squillions of pounds on HS2 and we can't even get, like, fast trains? Are you kidding me? How are we so
I
bad
agree.
at spending our money?
You know what's actually impressed me?
What?
The prices of inflation has
Yeah.
gone up. Um, TVs have still gone down.
Huh. Do we know why?
Yeah, manufacturing.
Yeah,
Those
that'll be it.
going-
A lot of homeless people sleep in their car, and that's like a step up from being on the street. But, you know, if you fucking sleep in your car, the cops will knock on your door and tell you to keep driving.
Oh, yeah, that happened to me.
Like, how fucking stupid can you be? That is... You have just created a tired driver out of nowhere. Was the person
Mm-hmm.
sleeping in their car bothering anyone? On the energy point, one of the troubles is that you have to make energy relatively locally. It just becomes too inefficient if you try and send it too far. So there's got to be different solutions for different countries.
It's going to take more than just like solar to overcome fossil fuels.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to be everything.
And
So I
that's one
agree.
of the points that I didn't make that is, I think, quite important. The problem isn't really that we don't have the technology or that it's too expensive or anything like that. It's just that there's too much political will to preserve fossil fuels. You really gotta fucking repeal Citizens United.
Have you ever had an Uncrustable?
No, I'd like to.
Dude, those go hard.
I've had Wonder Bread, and
Mhm.
I'm still recovering.
Oh, is it that bad?
The way that it, like, makes your teeth feel genuinely... Whoa! The more European you get, the better the bread. We have decent bread. North America, mostly shite.
Yeah.
Italian bread,
Yeah.
top fucking tier.
Yeah, I need to go over and try the bread there.
Yeah.
Become radicalized.
Yeah, that's...
Kelsey keeps trying to get me to move over to you guys.
I mean, depending on how bad things go, it might be the move. Oh, but we don't like immigrants, actually. We're not a big fan
I
of
know.
immigrants into these Great Isles. Unless you have lots of money, we would like that.
I have a aunt that is making a lot of money. She keeps trying to get me to go over and work for her. But kind of works for the belly of the beast. Oh, excuse me, sir. Belly of the beast, if you will.
Don't work for the bad guys.
But I can make $1 million a year.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. You may not be the biggest drinker, but if you go to Europe, especially Germany or Czechia, definitely try the beer. It will make every beer
That's what
you've
I'm
ever
gonna do.
had feel like, you know, child's piss. The US does kind of suck. I gotta be real. There are things I really do love about that country, but in terms of living there, it's generally like not that livable. Feels weird to say that, but yeah, fucking very unsafe in many ways. I mean, what does the word social security mean to you? Oh, well, phrase.
It means something that is like a social net that you work for and you pay for. Every time I get a paycheck, I pay for that.
Yeah, I not like
Which,
literally what the social security program is, but the phrase social security.
yeah, it means that you're secure. It's a safety net that your government's there for you.
We can't really go back to the old welfare state that we did after World War II, because the political establishment is now so far in on Thatcherite economics or Reaganomics that there genuinely seems no political alternative. Things are looking grim right now, I gotta say. That's something that most people are saying, but I don't see how things are gonna get better.
Before they get worse.
Yeah. How is Musk not going to ruin politics? How is it not
There,
that recovering from it is going to take fucking decades? Sorry.
I don't think it's. I don't. I don't, dude. The thing is, like, let's say AOC and Bernie wins. The thing is, I genuinely believe before they like start winning and taking over and they start getting bigger, I think Musk is going to have them capped.
I don't think that's very likely. We're not Russia yet.
The likelihood keeps increasing.
Why? For you?
Why? I know how he works. He's always got to be the one that wins,
God.
no matter
I
what.
hope you're wrong. I really fucking hope you're wrong.
Come on, the dude was paying off people in China.
I won! Victory Royale!
Less cheese.
Gee whiz, sure feels good to be a winner. Yeah, fuck, the thing you said about Musk, he's gotta win. Is he gonna go all the way and try and take down everything when he meets his downfall?
Yeah, If he can't win, he's gonna make it. He's gonna try his best to make it to where nobody can win. Genuinely.
I mean, that's the main premise of envious behavior.
Yeah, he's very petty. He's extremely petty. Go back and look at all the things he's done. A lot of things that have been done out of pettiness and spite.
I have seen his Twitter account and can attest to that fact.
No, even his biggest successes are him doing stuff out of spite. The
Yeah.
whole backstory for SpaceX and why he made this amazing company is legit because the Russians laughed at him because they wanted like $1 billion.
This
One
dude's
flight.
efforts could have gone to something good. It really could have.
Tesla on its own, the EV company, and making EVs fast, sexy, and more affordable.
Yeah.
Brilliant effort. Brilliant effort. I think everyone across the board will agree, except people that like oil cars, but like a reasonable person, that's a good thing to work for. As much as I despise Musk, that ideology of accelerating EVs, good.
It's good. It
But-
can't be good forever, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to be really critical over what we consider progress. Because, for instance, the Tesla Cybertruck is a massive step back for vehicle safety. One of the things that Tesla was lauded for was how safe it was. But, they decided to put aesthetics over that. Or he decided to put aesthetics over that.
If I need a EV truck, Rivian.
Rivian. Hence the Chinese takeover.
I know they keep blocking the Chinese EVs from coming over here, but
Yeah, they're not going to succeed for long.
no,
Market don't lie.
we're living in this shitty time whenever it comes to cars compared to the Chinese.
I get more upset about the Nazi salute every day. I fucking when I was 10, I believed it. I thought he was gonna revolutionize transport with a hyperloop, gonna revolutionize space engineering and send us to Mars for real.
Starship's going to do a lot, and we have revolutionized space travel. Like reusable rockets is a thing now. But
Musk always wants the credit. He's one of those people. He has to be the PayPal man. He has to be the Tesla man. He wants to dispute the collective intelligence of his workforce. He doesn't realize that the kind of leadership that you need to provide to smart people is the kind that allows them to be creative and also allows you to dispute the leader.
that used to be a thing. Whenever I was working with him, the reason why I like working with him is because he would do that. You couldn't just say like, hey, we're not going to do that because it's a stupid idea. You'll get fired. But if you said, hey, that's a bad idea, but here's how we could do it better, or like this is how we actually go about doing it, he used to be okay with it. Now it's not like that. He was like, I have so much money, go fuck yourself. I can find somebody to do it my way.
Ego. He now thinks that he can be only the leader and not a member as well. You are there to carry him. And this is what he has always needed to think. That's how billionaires survive. The exploitation is how they gain their wealth in the first place. But the social relation is meant to be relatively touchy-feely. But now it's really not. The mask is off. Your landlord seems a cunt, by the way, as they often are.
He is a cunt. He is a cunt.
Oh, Musk is really not that smart. He's not dumb. He can't be dumb. He needs to be a little bit smart. But, like, the things he says... By the way, I am actually a socialist. Just not the kind that shifts resources from most productive to least productive, comma, pretending to do good, comma, while actually causing harm. True socialism seeks greatest good for all. This is the mind that they will try and tell you is suited for ruling over you. And they will constantly do it. They will constantly try and tell you that Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos and Mark Zuckerberg are super intelligent specimens and got there through anything but a little bit of savviness and luck. And many people buy it. Many people do, including myself. I thought Elon Musk was Iron Man. I'm not ashamed to admit it. Some people still think that. Does he have friends?
Somebody tried to break into my fucking house. They're getting shot. They're not taking my shit. Fuck off.
Cultural
Yeah.
difference. I usually try and avoid killing people.
Yeah, same here, dude. I actively try and avoid it. Don't fuck with me. Don't come in my house. Don't try and steal my shit. Don't try and threaten me. You and I will be perfectly
Don't
fine. You stay
threaten
the fuck
me,
over there.
or I'll fucking shoot you. One of the ways that I avoid violence in my everyday life is by not having a gun, and yeah, that works pretty well for shootings. For stabbings, it's a little bit difficult because I have a kitchen.
The thing is, dude, I'm not going out with my gun
Yeah.
trying to kill people. That's not what I want to do. But if you break in my house and threaten me, no. Get the fuck out.
Get the fuck out of my house and into your untimely grave. You using grape shot at least?
Dude, I want to. Can you imagine breaking into somebody's house and you just see a 5'7" white guy all dressed in all red? Howdy
Yeah.
ho, lads!
You know, war might have been bad back in the day as well, but they had some aesthetics.
I'm not sure if you guys have this innovation over there in the old UK,
Yes.
but air fryers.
Oh yeah, of course. My grandma has one. Yeah, I kind of want one, but there's a thing with kitchen gizmos. Don't always end up using them regularly. And just take up space on the counter.
The air fryer is one that I just fucking use all the time. It's small, really efficient.
The white man must speak well of the air fryer.
I support Japanese manufacturing
You're gonna let them
and
get away
innovation.
with it? When they haven't even admitted to Nanking? You disgust me, Cole Adam Davis.
Because you gotta remember, I'm from Watson, Louisiana. I remember, like, high school, learning that the Chinese and the Japanese don't like each other. And I was like, why? They're the same Asian people. That's kind of weird.
Yeah. It's like the Baltic States.
And then I started reading, and I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's why.
That would be
Oh
it.
my God. What do you mean the Nazis stepped in and said, please stop, this is a war crime? It's crazy that they used to have people like that, and now, like, they got little Asian guys that are dressing up like women and stocks, and most white men want to come in them. So,
Dude, that's just the economy these days. A lot of Westerners think that it's a utopia, and there are kind of good reasons for that. It's great in many ways, but it has the same problems as many other countries. For instance, crazy consumerist society. They just haven't admitted to the war crimes. That's a little bit concerning for me personally.
the good news is Germany's spooling back up their manufacturing for weapons of war.
Are they?
Yeah.
Didn't realize
they
the Germans were at it again.
Well, the weird thing is they're doing it for the EU.
Is it for Ukraine?
Ukraine and EU, because they've all said that we can't trust America anymore.
No,
For
yeah.
weapons.
Brussels is fucking quaking. They're scared. They're really scared. I cannot support arms manufacturing in any regard, but I'd rather the weapons go to Ukraine than Russia.
You guys about to start arming yourselves and becoming a lot more self-dependent. Now, only if Germany can get their head out of their ass and go nuclear.
Fukushima, 3 Mile Island, Chernobyl. All fucking horrible.
Actually, dude, 3 Mile Island and Fukushima were not bad at all. The biggest thing for
Fukushima was bad.
Fukushima, come to find out, and you can read the literature from everyone. They all agree that, in retrospect, the mass movement of all those people out of the quote-unquote radiation zone is what killed most of the people.
Oh my god.
It wasn't the
So
radiation.
it was the displacement.
No, it was the displacement.
Ah.
So they would have been with way, like, their cancer rates would have been like 0.2% higher. But it's 0.2% higher. So in fact, the displacement is what killed them, not the reactor. Now, of course, we need the fourth gen reactors to be beefed up, and they have been from Fukushima. But yeah, no, I think you and I both agree.
Yeah, I'm pro-nuclear. Safety standards should be taken as seriously as they should.
The big thing, though, is if in America, I think they should be cut back.
Nuclear should be cut back?
No, the regulations by them.
Really?
Because they don't make sense. Yeah, it takes you 50 years of permits to even start building a nuclear reactor here. 50 years. You have
What?
to
Why is it measured
fill
in
out the
time and
paperwork.
not qualification? That's fucking weird. Yeah.
I know, right? I know, right? Like it's 50 years, and you can only start planning a nuclear reactor after year 25.
I want to say that this is relatively down to wanting to preserve its nuclear monopoly.
There's reactors years like thorium salt reactors and a bunch of other shit. That wouldn't be an issue, right?
It sounds like fear-based legislation,
Yes.
which you have a lot of.
Like you're telling me I'm scared of the trans people? What do
You're
you mean?
transphobic.
Takes estrogen, wants to suck me off, and better write a bill against it.
That guy, you know that guy, Noam Chomsky, where the fear-based legislation was mainly based on anti-communism, it is now based on Islamophobia. I would add that in terms of the culture war, and on a personal level, to create false harm, transphobia is now the main social culture war.
That and being Mexican.
Being Mexican has always been a problem for the United States.
Can I tell you one thing that bothers me about Canada?
Yeah, there are many things personally.
My biggest one is that the fact that 50% of Canadians speak French. What alarms me more is that the other 50% allows them to speak French.
Exactly. The Official Languages Act means that that accursed tongue is written on every packaging. No. On a serious note, one of the best bad things about Canada is how before like every business meeting and shit, we'll say, oh, the land that we're currently occupying traditionally belongs to this First Nations group. Alright, let's get on with it. They will acknowledge it and attempt to do absolutely nothing about it. And they will use phrasing that says, ancestral claim to land. Something like that. They will never say the real owners of this land. You know, Canada was built on the same violence as America. We want to manifest destiny just as much as you. You're a big fan of enhanced interrogation? I sure am.
I'm a big fan of balls to my car battery interrogation.
There is a anti-trans activist called Posey Parker, that's her stage name at least, and she is a single-issue campaigner, only wants trans people out of public life, and that means more or less killing them, or at least doing immense violence, until they leave from her place in the world. Now, putting aside that her agenda is completely impossible, she essentially is a misogynist who believes in, quote, traditional gender roles. And it's one of the same things that you were talking about, where if it's some other fucker who's getting screwed more than me, then I am okay. I have suffered, and I want to see other people suffer more. Particularly of this minoritized group.
Most generations that have come before, it's like, I want to make the world a better place for my kids. And then the boomers came out and they were like, fuck you, you ungrateful pieces of shit. Yank up ladder.
Everyone wants to
And they're
blame it
now
on the boomers.
I mean, it's not all the boomers, of course, right? It's not the people that
Trump
made
is
the
a
decision.
boomer, right?
Yes.
Yeah. He is emblematic of a lot of that generation's attitudes.
So was Biden.
So was Biden. Well, they call it geriocracy.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a word, but that's what it is.
No, I mean, it's a geriatric.
You really think that they would be rather bored of the whole thing? Like, I thought that Trump would be too impatient to stay with the grift, but no, he just holds true to it. He never stops grifting. You have got to hand it to him.
I think it's because as soon as he lost last time, he lost everything, right? He had no money and he couldn't afford anything anymore.
He was
and like
cooked.
he was cooked. So like he just had to keep drifting for the sake of his family, and it's paid off.
It paid off, yeah. He's gonna get away with it.
Yeah, he is.
He's gonna die before he can face consequences, really.
He absolutely will. And then after he got shot, you know, got at and it missed him and it hit a firefighter. Dude, every like all Christians are like, well, God actually saved him for this reason.
You don't have to vote, Christians. This will be the last election. Don't worry about it. It'll be fixed.
We're gonna fix it so good that you'll never need to vote again.
And they will put men in women's sports. Why are
I don't know, man.
conservatives pretending to give a fuck about women's sports? I
Yeah.
never thought I would see the day.
As soon as that baby pops out, fuck you, you
Yeah.
entitled brat.
It's not about will this child have a decent life. It's can we control this woman's body?
It's actually a little bit darker than that at the larger scale. It's not even that. You don't know what it actually
Well,
is?
that's a large part. That is a very large part of it. But go.
At the larger part, if you look at it society at scale, it's we don't want to give people like a better life that's more affording to them to where they can have kids on their own and let the system naturally grow. No, we need to force them to suffer and have kids because
Yeah. It's a great way of
our
trapping women into horrible domestic situations.
but it's also like demand is slowing. The world population, at least in the the current countries, is declining.
Yeah.
The first world is declining, and this generation doesn't want to have kids because what? They can't afford anything. They're just ungrateful.
Yeah.
No, we're gonna force them
Force
to
them
have
to have
kids.
children. No
Yes,
contraception. No abortion. No sexual health care.
because that costs money.
It costs money, and it's wrong.
It costs money, and we don't want that. We need you to give us more money and work for very cheap in our system.
Hmm.
And that's literally the way it's been explained to me by the person that's currently running the United States government.
Ugh. Uh,
He literally asked me why I wasn't having kids. It's like I work here for 50K a
what?
year and I don't have any time.
What? Okay. That's like a okay. Shouldn't it be pretty obvious why someone wouldn't have kids? Money is expensive.
My first month at SpaceX, I was so poor. I slept in my car
Fucking hell, man.
to work there. Well, then I would go buy turkey meat, and then I would go find bread in the lounge at SpaceX because that was free, and then use that to make sandwiches.
Holy fuck. Working for the richest man in the world. And you're taking his free bread.
Yeah, honestly, I should be ashamed.
You uprooted the great social contract. That bread is to be used for eating a little bit only.
I think I made them over $100 million.
Of course you did. Yeah, I think you have contributed directly to ridiculous profits. You personally. And
Oh, I
those have
have.
been
No,
extracted
I
from
actually
you.
did. I actually did. I
I
did make ridiculous profits. I made a private space flight a thing.
Mm-hmm. And what did you get for that? You got a Hitler salute and a sharp car and not enough money to survive.
I got fired immediately after doing that, and then hired back, and then fired again, and then hired back, and then I went to med school. I got a new traveling bag, and it's called the Brit bag.
It's made of British people's skin.
Dude, it's probably foreskin. You see how hard this shit is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck, that looks like my foreskin. Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
nice.
dude.
That's a pretty sick suitcase.
It's British, apparently. It's probably made in China.
Yes.
It is for sure made in China.
Do people not get that if
And
all of the stuff is made in China, then China have control over what stuff we have?
no, I do have a thing for Asian women for some reason. Always have.
Probably because they're gorgeous.
Where the fuck is this made? It doesn't say where it's made at all. I have opened this up everywhere, and it does not say where
That
it's
sounds
made.
illegal. Maybe it's on the box.
No! I'm looking at the box right now. There is nothing.
The fuck? I guess you could
I know, right?
just look it up. Is it truly British or is it a scam?
But I gotta admit, it's a good bag. It's very solid.
Not a big fan of the whole rise of anti-Semitism. I've been getting a lot of anti-Semitic comments
On what?
on my videos.
Oh, why?
Yes. Why? They're not. They have nothing to do with anti-Semitism or anything like that. They are political, but it is specifically Jewish people. There has been a significant rise in anti-Semitism among the younger generation. That is internet-based. It has to be. There's no other way it could be.
The whole pro-Palestine bit. What I'm gonna say is, like, Palestine, I feel so bad for them, but also at the same time, not. It's just a shitty situation. The people that are truly just people trying to live, horrible. Horrible. But I don't know why America got in. I need to look into that. Why America got involved in the first place, because those two have been fighting for eons or whatever.
Well, after the Balfour Declaration, because we were very anti-Semitic even as we were fighting the Nazis, we wanted to get rid of the Jews. So we thought, you know what? There's a great Holy Land that they like so much. Why don't we send them over? And thus Israel was created. A small problem with that is that there were already people living there, and so you need to genocide them a little bit in order to create your nice little settler colonialist state. It's a shit situation, yeah, for most people involved. Unless it's literally the IDF soldiers gleefully dropping bombs on children, most people think it sucks. But a lot of the rhetoric used is trying to two sides it, and also pretend it's more complicated than it actually is. It's very much a genocide situation, and it has to be in order for Israel to exist as a state.
Why don't we just send them to Australia?
That's a good question.
I mean, you guys did that shit once before.
Ideally, you don't send the Jews anywhere. I mean, that's the cheapest option.
You remember the Jew tunnels in New York?
The Jew tunnels?
Oh my god, dude. During COVID, the Orthodox Jews mined out underneath a bunch of hotels for like an entire city block so they can all go to their synagogue during COVID. And whenever they got busted, dude, for like trespassing during like right after COVID times, a bunch of Orthodox Jews just started popping out of the sewers and running like rats. There was a guy that lived in his apartment that tweeted back in like 2020, like when everybody was stuck in there, and he was like, dude, I think somebody's drilling underneath my apartment, but I live on the first floor and I hear them speaking Yiddish. And everybody in the comments on Twitter back in 2020 was like, "You're just
schizophrenic.
Racist. You're a racist piece of shit. You don't know what you're talking about." And then 4 years later, this exact thing happens. And the guy comes back online and he's like, "I fucking told you guys I wasn't racist. I fucking knew it."
Oh my god. That's so fucking funny. Breaking COVID guidelines, unconscionable, even for religious practice. Highly irresponsible behavior. The people who are gonna have it the worst are Jews and trans people. And
Oh,
then,
dude, can you imagine being Jewish and trans?
yeah, well, I can't personally. But one of the things is that race isn't really real, and a lot of trans people just pass normally. If you're openly Jewish, then once the fascists take over, you're pretty much fucked. And also, the Nazis were obsessed with finding secret Jews in their ranks.
Yeah.
It was everywhere they saw. So you don't even have to be part of the ethnic group that's being targeted. It's all about just doing damage to people. It doesn't really matter who the enemy is, as long as there is an enemy. You must be fighting the good fight if you're fighting the bad people. And then you paint a very broad brush over who the bad people are.
Yeah.
And there you go. Worst periods in human history.
We're about to be heading into them, brother.
I'm not so naive that I think that I can literally just stop fascism by making a few videos. But, I'm in the UK, they can't fucking get me. Until they do, of course. First, they came for the socialists. I did nothing because I was not a socialist. Yeah, I'm not trans, so I'll probably be fine in the UK. Transphobia is the #1 culture war in the UK. It's not quite as bad as in the US because our lawmakers aren't as much psychopaths, but it's still very dangerous culturally. Moving to the UK is not a solution. A lot of people think that, you know, we're largely the same country as you. Your political system was based off ours, and we have many of the same problems. So it's not a solution, it's just a way of heightening your survival chances, really.
Yoinking my sausage until it point. I don't know. Ah!
The right have too many figures, too many demagogues, because it's really easy to tell people what they want to hear. The trade-off is that you say racist gibberish. It's much harder to not tell them a line, tell them the party line. Megan Phelps Roper is a former member of the Westboro Baptist Church who escaped, mainly because of people on Twitter. In her speaking events, she prioritizes changing the minds of bigots. And that is very important. There are ways out of fascism and, you know, terrible, hateful ideology like it. But the conversation about turning people and civility is not the correct conversation to be having when it comes to protecting the safety of the groups hateful people target. Why does it have to be all about the bigot's personal journey rather than the trans child they're caving the skull in of?
And if you don't start changing those people's minds and seeing them to go further, you end up having just racist anyway. And people thinking that the government's wrong.
90% of people, their politics is not liking politics. And I find that very lazy. You need to give a toss in order to do politics. The whole reason to do it, for many, not for all, not for grifters, is a genuine instinct to do good on a large scale.
You have made your prediction, and now it's time to see what happens when I release the balance. Ready?
In 3, 2,
Someone's gonna
1.
test the Cybertruck in Fortnite. Gotta fucking kill them.
Now it tips towards the right, towards the hanging heavier ball. But why does this happen? Well, the best way I can think of to explain this is that both balls displace the same amount of water. So they both experience the same upward buoyant force, which is equal to the weight of the water they displace. That's just Archimedes' principle. But by Newton's third law, that means there must be equal and opposite forces down on the water, both beakers. So you would think that both beakers would get heavier by this same amount. Now, for the hanging ball, the beaker does get heavier by this amount because the buoyant force is now supporting some of the weight that used to be supported by this tension in the string. But it's now reduced, and so the beaker actually has more weight. But for the ping pong,